Hey, I'm Lonnie Cook, Maintenance Director, Cargo Transporters. And what we're going to talk about today is the Sherlock trailer safety system. And the intention of it is to keep the trailer steady while this trailer is being loaded at a dock. And from the provided videos that you're going to see the operation of it when the Sherlock is engaged and when it's disengaged. And it's important to realize that during your pre-trip, before you hook up to a load and take it out of a shipper, that Sherlock is released when you release the trailer brakes, the red valve. Push that red valve in, come back and do your pre-trip, look at it, and make sure the Sherlock is disengaged. If it's not, we have some procedures that can help you out in trouble, like they won't release because the load is too heavy. What you can do at that point is crank the truck up, back up at 5 to 6 miles per hour, and then use the trailer brake on the dash to stop the load, and that will make the trailer rise, and the spring tension will pull those Sherlocks off of the resting pad. Then you can come back out with the trailer brakes released, truck parking brake set, and you can look to see if they're disengaged. And that's just the easy way to do it. If you have any troubles, we do have some printouts on MyCT to help you realize what we're looking at, and some of the videos provided are going to help you see the movement of that Sherlock and how it engages and disengages. So if you have any questions about that, please call, but this should help you in a pinch when you're out on the road and you need to get that Sherlock disengaged. If you don't, you're going to get an overweight ticket, probably because that back axle is holding all of the weight. That's why we did this. This is the truss lock handle with it fully engaged, and the door, as you see, is locked at the bottom right here. You're going to want to make sure on your pre-trip that it's locked at the top, and you can go all the way up there and look at the top. You'll see that it is fully engaged. Now, as I release this truss lock, I'm going to pull this open, and I'm going to pull it out, and you can see that I have an engagement here and an engagement here. Those are crucially important. So we're going to open the door, pull it all the way open, and it releases the door. When you're backing into a dock, you're going to want to make sure these doors are locked in the open position, locked. A lot of drivers make a mistake by only engaging this portion of the truss lock when this is the most important part, and then that. So we're going to walk through that as I open this door. So here we go. Open the door. But make sure that this engages fully in here first. It goes in, and then I slam it shut, and it will not come out. It physically cannot go out of those two holes. That is properly done, ensuring the front portion of it is locked in and the back portion. And as you unlock it, same thing in reverse. We can open it here, pull it open, it comes out of that second hole, and then we can come back here to close our door. I know this seems redundant for you guys, but if you do these things, I believe we're going to have less doors coming off at our shipper. I'm going to verify the top is in place, bottom is in place, that I'll simply put it in place here and lock it and secure it with your seal if you have a seal that you're going to put in there. So it's a really simple process. If this is bent right here, it might have operational issues. So that's why the pre-trip is important on this, to make sure everything is functional and proper. Sometimes a shipper will hit this really hard and they might bend it right here. So that's why we do our pre-trips and our post-trips to make sure, number one, we're not having faulty equipment on the road. Then number two, making sure that whoever's picking up that load is ready to go and not burning up their clock getting the trailer repaired. That's why we like to do a post-trip as well. Thank you. Okay, today we're talking about our new package. It's an air disc brake package, and it is supplied by Meritor. It went away from the old Meritor style, and they took away a feature that we really liked, which was the wear indicator. And today we do have a wear indicator, but you really actually have to look for it. As you see, and you're inspecting your brakes on your pre-trip, you're going to look for anything that's out of the place, out of the way. The first indicator is you see orange stuff in here. That is rust, and that means that you're metal to metal somewhere. So we're going to look at that, and that's where a good pre-trip comes in. But while you're doing your pre-trip, you can see this surface right here indicated by my ink pen. That is a machine surface, and that does not move. That is part of the truck axle. It is built into it. The part that moves is the caliper. Here's the caliper right here, and as you apply brakes, it is going to move in and out, in and out. on very slow increments, on very, very fine increments, and that is going to move. When we start to wear our brake pad down, this caliper is going to migrate outward in this direction, and we're going to move outward. So when this area right about here gets to be right about here, your brake pads are worn out, and we're going to need to change those. And while you're inspecting your truck, just stick your head in here, look for this area right here where you see this foundry change size, and it gets larger here and it's smaller here. That area right there, and I've pretty much made a mark there, that you can come out here and see where it is. And once it gets to here, we're going to need to change those brake pads, or at least let maintenance look at them up in the garage so that we can get you back to braking properly on the road without having any issues with your rotor or your caliper or your backing plate or anything like that. So this is something that I think you need to look at on your pre-trip and on your post-trip. We don't harp a lot about post-trip, but a good driver is going to use a post-trip to make sure everything is good after he gets done with his driving segment. So thank you. This is the Hadley Smart Valve, and it is the new electronically controlled air suspension system on our trucks, and we're going to go over that next. This is the new Hadley Smart Valve in its position. It is an electrically controlled air suspension system, and we can control this from the cab of the truck, but this is the location of it. If you ever have questions when you're on the road and you have an issue, this is the location. It's just like the old regular air valve. We call it a dumb valve. This one is a smart valve, and it senses when you are at certain heights coming down the road, whatever we have it preset to. So that's where it is. Okay, this is the switch that's going to control your air ride suspension, the ECAS, ECAS, electronically controlled air suspension. If I press this button down, I'm going to drop the suspension. I'm going to press it, and as you hear, air is bleeding out, and that's going to go all the way out. That's going to let you easily get up underneath the trailer. Anytime I want to change that and stop that, I press that button again, and it's going to raise it back to normal ride height. When it goes back to normal ride height, let's say I'm picking up the trailer and I'm already up underneath it. Now I can't move the landing gear. The advantage for this switch is that I can press it again, and I'm going to raise the suspension to take pressure off the landing gear for you so that you can have an easier time rolling that landing gear up. So then it's going to raise it all the way up. It lifts it about 2 inches, gets those landing gear off the ground, and then we can go back down to our normal ride height. And you see it will bottom out and go back down to the regular ride height. When there are no lights on, it has already met its required setting, and it's there. And if you look at the switch also, it's also a different switch. It's got a safety feature built into it. It is resist into the top, unlike the lock for your rear axle or for your air slide. This one is indented here, so that keeps you from not knowingly hit that when it's dark in here, and you feel that when you say, "Oh, that's the air ride switch." So I don't want to hit that while I'm going down the highway. There are also several features built into this switch, and we have what's called an aero improvement system. When you're going down the highway above 45 miles per hour, it's going to drop air pressure to lower the truck. You're still going to maintain a smooth ride, but we're going to go into aero mode, which is going to get your better fuel economy, and it's going to increase the amount of driving time you can have, so you're going to get better fuel economy. That mode is turned on all of our tractors, and this Hadley Smart Valve takes control of that, and it issues the proper amount of air to get you to a certain ride height. Once you go back down below 45 miles per hour, it goes into normal ride height mode. And behind here is one of our pressure limiter and tire inflators. So this is the tablet. I'll pull it out in handheld mode. So I'm going to bring it out here. I'm going to go in and try to find the Halo app and go scroll across the screen, click on the Halo app, and it's going to populate. Once it populates, it's going to give me an overall picture of my truck. And I'm going to click on correct. And once I see that, I see all my tire positions. If you look at the drive tires, they're all above 100 PSI, and that's a good setting. And my steer tires are above 110 PSI, so those are all good settings as well. The Halo system in itself maintains air pressure in the 4 drive tires. So while you're rolling down the road, the air pressure is constantly maintained at over 100 PSI. For the steer tires, we're only monitoring the pressure. So we're looking at 112. This truck has been outside for a little bit this morning. It's hot, so it's going to be above the set pressures, which is 110 and 100. And if I click on each one, I can get a representation of the target tire pressure, and I can see where my tire pressure actually is. And I can do that with the drives as well. So these are all preset in here. So you can go around the truck and you can look at your tire pressures with the Halo app. I really want to stress, though, that you use this. I want you to use this every day during your pre-trip, but I also want you to know that this does not take away from the fact that you need to look at your tires and actually inspect the tires for, number one, punctures, objects in your tire, and tread quality, because the pressure can be right, but you still have an issue with the tire. So I don't want this to take away from your pre-trip. This should be in addition to your pre-trip. Come in here and verify. You can look at that, but don't let that take away from the fact that you need to get out here and look at your tires as well. On your Halo tire pressure monitor system, this is the actual pump that's mounted on all your drive wheels, and that's why this bulb sticks out a little bit farther than your normal tire cover. And this pump is located directly behind here. So we've installed these on our tractors, and we have one per drive wheel, and this maintains and fills the air as you're rolling down the road. So it takes revolutions to make the pump come on and activate, and then it maintains the tire pressure, and over time it will build a low tire back up. But I also want you to know, guys, that when you're using this, this will not fill up a flat tire. It is meant to top off a tire that has a slow leak. If you have a major leak and you're more than 20% below our 100 PSI target pressure, that tire is considered run flat, and we're going to need to get someone to come out and either change it or repair that tire. Don't operate on a 75 PSI tire. That is going to cause a zipper liner failure in the tire eventually if you run that tire low, because you're building up heat due to the flex. This is meant to inflate a slightly low tire. It will not inflate a flat tire. The tire has to actually be rolling in order for this pump to work. So this is one located on each one of these. And just to give you a quick demonstration again, we'll come back here and pop this one off again. I'll try it off. As you know, there's the, and this one's located, and there's the tire line right there. We just think about that. And then I'll come back here and put this one back on, and this should be part of your pre-trip. Driver's side under his step has a few things to note. Pull the cover down and look. You can see that there's plastic covering here on top of the batteries. Well, Freightliner designed this in here to give the batteries protection like it needs. But also you can see the sides of the battery. They did that to protect it from heat. So we can actually get air flowing around this to keep the batteries cool. Because anytime they're working, they're going to get hot, they're going to build up heat. So we've done that to actually alleviate some of that temperature getting in there. Of course, you see on the right-hand side, we've got a cautionary note, use DEF only, so we're not going to put diesel fuel in here. And the same note, we're not going to put diesel fuel in our DEF in our fuel tank. We don't want to get those two mixed up. So this blue is DEF only, and I really don't want to see any DEF introduced to my diesel fuel tanks back there, because that could be bad. So this is the left-hand side of the battery splitter. Just side boxes. As you can see, we've got cargo compartments on the left and right side of the truck. And this one looks like it's sticking out farther. And if I shake it, let's rattle. These boxes are known to latch 2 times. And you can see it sitting right here. While you're going down the highway, this will down and rattle, which is actually going to act as a vacuum pump and could possibly suck exhaust fumes inside the truck. So to make this go away, you can get in the steel from my gasket all the way around the door. I'm going to open the door back up. I'll pull it back a little bit, leave a heel in my hand, give it a thumb shut. And now that door is shut tight. I've got a good seal on my gasket all the way around, and I'll hopefully prevent any exhaust gases from entering the cabin to take while you're operating before you're trying to get some shut up. Driver's side box is exactly the same way as the passenger side box, but as you see, we've got some items in here. Number one, you've got your power inverter, you got your warning triangles, you got your spill kit, and the fire extinguisher. This is the only space that we take up as a company underneath the bunk. The rest of the bunk area is yours to use as you see fit for storage. And we've also, as you can tell, moved the plug-in. So for 110 volt shore power, we can plug in right here. It's easy for you to see if the truck is still plugged up when you start your day. If you come off of a 34, instead of walking around to the back of the truck to see if it's plugged up, you can easily see it's right here. Also, you'll know that you didn't plug it up when you leave for the day, so you can simply look back here and see if that's our 110 volt. Just like the passenger side, grab the shot, go reach up finally, make sure it's shut and it's locked tight within its seat. Another key feature change is your mirror heat. So when you flip a switch on your truck, you normally get your mirrors heat to come in. Well, now we're not just doing the side mirrors on the side of the doors, we're also ran power wires up here to the top on your spot mirrors on your hood. Now your mirrors on the hood are heated at the same time. So when in a cold environment, you need to knock the frost off your mirrors, you can easily put that switch on. You're going to see both your mirrors defrost on your hood and on the sides of the truck. And that wiring harness on the left-hand side is actually going to extend and go up to another switch that's mounted on the hood. It's a micro switch. We'll get more into that later when we're talking about optimized idle, but that's the micro switch for your optimized idle. Next, we're going to talk about batteries. And if I want to look at the batteries, I'm going to remove this catwalk cover. I'll remove these two handles, open it up, and slide the catwalk to gain access to the real battery control. I'll take this nap. But as you can see, the batteries are a different shape and form than your old batteries. Your old batteries were flooded batteries or lead acid batteries, and these are actually called an AGM, absorbed glass mat battery. They're typically 3 times more expensive than a regular flooded battery, but they're warranted for a full 4 years. So we get a lot of life and a lot of warranty back for that. So one thing I wanted to caution you about in here, if you look at the batteries and you say you have a battery problem, and you go to a TA, Petro, Love's, and they can't guarantee this battery like we do here for the full 4 years, and we need to remove a battery, you could just simply have to drop the service repair facility, remove 2 of the nuts on the failed battery, isolate the cable out of the way, and then you can come back on 7 batteries or 6 batteries. As you can see, all the cables are interlinked. So if you take that one battery out of the cell, then you can come back on 7, or you can come back on 6. That's where we got it wired. You have 8 of these batteries on boards. Your old batteries had 1,170 cranking amps, and this battery has 2,150 cranking amps. So it's a lot bigger pool to condense. So these are a lot better batteries. We feel like they are, and we've had less problems on it. This feature on the side of the truck, at this bulb on the side, is actually replacing your old side sensing radar. This one is called the short range radar. It mounts to the side of the truck, and your old truck shot a radar pattern from the back of your axle to the front of your steer axle. It did work. It works fine. When you turn the 30% on, you guys all know that you're going to get the signal that there's an object in your path. Well, this sensor is different. It shoots a beam forward with one radar panel and the secondary to the rear, and it goes all the way to the back of the trailer and goes 15 feet out. So hopefully we're going to protect our trailer and our truck at the same time from something being in your path. While you're going down the highway, you're still going to get a radar light come on if there's an object in your path, but you will get an audible tone if there's an object in your path with your turn signal engaged. So this hopefully is helping us out a lot better with issues going on with side sensing radiation.